Because crossing the border isn't scary enough, imagine running into La Llorona. Yeah. So I'm from the valley, which is so South Texas that if you keep going straight on the highway, you will end up in Mexico. More specifically in Matamoros, which is a border town to Brownsville, Texas. And I'm a nosy bitch and decided to look up scary stories from Matamoros, and well, do I have regrets? Yes. Am I gonna share them with you? Also yes. And yes, these are Pop-Tarts. This one has a little bite taken out of it. So cute. So this guy's actually from Guatemala, but he traveled to Matamoros because he was planning to cross over to the United States. Obviously, this is a very scary thing for him. He knew the risks and he's heard terrifying stories about crossing the border. He's heard about people drowning, about people just disappearing and never being heard from again. So obviously this was a very big risk. So him and a couple of other people got in contact with a coyote who said he had a safe route on how to get to the other side, so they paid him. They had been walking for a very, very long time. He said that the current looked really strong, but he was a good swimmer, so he knew that he was going to be able to make it across, or at least that's what he thought. As soon as all of them got into that river, they all heard this strange sound that didn't sound human. In the beginning, he ignored that sound because he thought to himself, I'm just nervous, I'm hearing things, maybe it's the wind. But then that sound happened again. This time he paid attention and he said that it sounded like somebody was crying, like really sad, and it was coming from the US side of the river. He said that the second time they all heard it again, they all looked at each other and they could tell that they were all very scared, but they decided to just go on and try to cross the river, just not worry about what that sound was. As he's walking in the river, he said that the water got to like his chest, and that is when he saw her. On the US side of the river was a lady who looked like she was hovering over the ground and that the wind was moving her dress from side to side. Her dress was all white. When he looks at her face, he said that this lady was just looking right back at them, but she wasn't talking, she wasn't screaming, she wasn't doing anything but looking at them. He wanted to scream to warn the other guys that the lady was standing right there, but that's when the coyote was telling them to hurry up and hurry up, so he couldn't warn them about the lady. In that moment, when he had seen the lady, he was about to tell the guys about her. The coyote was rushing them. He didn't get a chance to. He suddenly feels something pull him underneath the river. He didn't understand how he was underneath the water, how someone had pulled him, because it wasn't that deep. He was standing there, and once he was underneath the water, he opened his eyes and he could see a white dress next to him. He could see how this lady in that white dress had her arms extended, holding on to his legs. He could see her face, but there was no actual like facial features, that her eyes just looked like they were empty holes. When he saw her, he said he screamed so loud underneath the water that obviously he swallowed some of that water, and in that moment he just knew that he had to fight. He kicked, he punched, he tried to get away, but nothing was working. He can feel how this thing was pulling him more and more underneath that water. When he finally managed to get away and go all the way on top of the water, he went out there just trying to breathe desperately, but he saw her standing right next to him, right there, right in front of him. She started crying, and he said that he felt like her cries were moving that water so intensely. He tried to swim to the edge of the river, but he felt as if something was holding him right there. He knew that it wasn't the river or something inside of that river doing that to him, that it was her. At that point, he was shaking, he was cold, he felt like he couldn't breathe anymore, and he thought to himself, like, this is where I'm going to die. Then all of a sudden, like a stronger kind of current came, and he felt that thing had let him go, and he swam all the way to the edge. With the last energy that he had, he held onto a branch on the side of that river. The people who had been there with them finally saw him and helped him off and out of that river. When he finally looked at them, they were all pale and asking him, like, what happened? What happened to you? Where were you? At that point, he couldn't talk. Like, he didn't have the energy. All he could do was look back at that river and see if that lady was gonna come after him. He never saw her again. When he finally made it to where he had family and friends, there was this old guy that he knew, and he told him what had happened, because at that point, he hadn't told anybody. After this older man listened to his story, he looked at him very seriously and said, yeah, La Llorona has been appearing in that river for a very long time. Sometimes she takes the people who she confuses with her children. If she touched you and you're alive, it's because she let you live. He explains that ever since then, if he goes near somewhere like a body of water or a river. That's all he could think of. That's all the memories that he will forever have when he goes near any river. And sometimes when he goes to sleep, he has nightmares that he's back there again, and he almost feels as if she's out here looking for him. I have chills just thinking about how close that Rio Bravo is to us. Like, who would have known? La Llorona, literally in our backyards. Thankfully, never seen her, never want to see her. But that shit is definitely scary, because imagine already taking that risk and not thinking that something paranormal is gonna happen to you. Like, what the fuck? But what do you guys think?